I wanted to address briefly the reason why I do this, why I share this with you, and what I hope you might get out of it. And that is trying to put at your fingers the things that you would need to know both the fingerboard, know enough theory and chord construction that you can navigate your way through something if you're feeling something, hearing something, and to expose you to other sounds that maybe you haven't come across. I do hope for that. So whatever I just played there, no pre-planning, just following the lines and trying to educate my ears and my fingers to work together. The number one thing I would convey is these things have to come from your feelings. And by feelings, I mean the way it feels inside. If you feel angry, that would come out. If you feel serene and content, that might come out. But to play from that part of you that is empathetic, is in tune with your surroundings, in tune with your body, I think a calm mind really helps. Receptive mind helps. Being open to the unexpected, throwing yourself in a place where you don't know where you are, and go slow and try to make sense. I'm going to try to just play something abstract, went really slow. As soon as I started to see that I knew for a second I was in a chromatic contrary motion line, I tried to break out of it right away. If I feel it's starting to become an exercise or I'm being led by something other than really what I'm hearing. So that's what I would say to you, is that the greatest joy you'll have beyond any praise you'd get from another person, beyond anything else, is the satisfaction in the moment of that timeless sense that you can recreate over and over, of playing in the moment and having something really living in the sound. I have to say I really love electric guitar for this point, that it can sustain. I have a signal chain now through running a few pedals that really is trying to promote that sustaining string-like, cello-like, maybe oboe, if I could get it, would be my melodic ideal would be an oboe. Organ I quite like. So right now, as for those of you who ask about it, I'm running my Strat into a really cheap Behringer compressor, the CS400. I got mine for $29 from Sweetwater with a bag of candy. So the Behringer compressor is quite fine. It compares very favorably and comparably to the Boss compressor, but it's, I don't know, $80 or $90 cheaper. Then a big component of this is the Electro-Harmonix Attack Decay pedal. So it takes away the very front end of the attack. I have it set to where it's just coming in right after, so I can get articulation still. So I can play at whatever speed I like, and it's not going to have to swell in. It's different than the slow gear by Boss, or even the Super Ego or the Pog 2. I've had both those, and they didn't work the way this one does. This also has a poly feature, a polyphonic feature, that allows you to play chords, and that's really what I wanted. Then we go into a New Neighbor Iconoclast speaker emulator, which just lets me tone shape and also has a noise gate. So as soon as I stop playing, I have it set that as soon as I drop below a certain threshold, it won't cut into my sustain, I don't think. But as soon as I mute, there, boom, it went in and cut everything off signal-wise. So the New Neighbor Iconoclast is quite nice for that. Then the recent thing I've added underneath all of this is the Strymon Cloudburst ambient reverb. It has an ensemble feature, which just brings, I have it set really quiet right now. It brings these kind of string sounds underneath. If I go and switch it, here I'm putting it to the more dramatic, maybe this will be louder. You hear that? So I have very short decay, about that much. So that's too pronounced an effect for me. That's the forte setting. On the ensemble side, I have no modulation. The tone is way down. The pre-delay is off. So I'm wanting it to follow my notes right as soon as I do them. And the mix is, it's more towards the dry side. But this is the, you hear that after effect there. I also have the tone controls on my guitars rolled down. I'm using this position on the Strat, so it's these two pickups. But the tones are each at about 4 or 5. They're rolled off, so I don't want it to be too bright. I want that dark kind of oboe sound. I'm going to switch it back to mezzo piano here. So this is for anybody that's been interested in these sounds. Then the other thing that's happening is through the Boss Katana Mark II 50 watt. I have some reverb here. It's a hall reverb. And I go in with the editor with my MacBook, and so you can hear that. I put a little pre-delay on it, so it's not immediately getting the note. I played distorted for many years, and I like that sound a lot. I have all this Rockman gear back here from Tom Scholes of the band Boston. So these are distortion generators and EQs, compressors, delays, a MIDI octopus as well. And I like playing distorted. I still do it sometimes, but I'm really committed to this sound that I'm working on, which is admittedly synthetic, but going for a kind of singing, I don't know, it really is. It's a string quartet or a oboe with 3 strings, or so the compressor tamps down. It's coming in with a fairly short attack. So the compressor kicks in, and both the electroharmonics pedal and the compressor do a bit of a swell afterwards, so I can get, so it blooms up a little bit. Before I got the compressor, the electroharmonics wasn't working. It was a little glitchy. It didn't let me turn my volume down on my guitar. It wouldn't think it had enough input to do anything, and it would get glitchy. So I realized the compressor is what I needed. That's about it there. But again, I'd really make sure that you know that it's not going to get better than how much you enjoy playing when you're enjoying it. That's really the thing to look for. If you're looking for outside validation or someone to say how great you are, it might happen, and that would be nice. But the real pleasure you're going to get is that feeling inside where you're playing something in the moment. Maybe you're right on the edge of discovery and something's really feeling good. I used to have long talks with Joe DiOrio, and one thing he told me I've never forgotten, and I'll pass it on to you, not as a chastisement or as something to be used against you, but to encourage you to push a little bit. So Joe would say, hey, you know those times when you're feeling really good and you feel like you're playing great and everything's flowing and everything's easy? And I said, yeah. And he says, that means you're not learning nothing. He said, it means you've plateaued. It means you're on top of everything that you've worked on and everything's going good. He said, the time that you were making progress was when it felt like you were having to drag something up a hill and it was hard work. He said, that's when you were really learning. And then all of a sudden you plateau, everything feels great, you feel like you're playing great, but you've probably stopped learning. So I try to stay with that and stay with the advice of Joe and keep learning, keep delving into things. You'll see I put a lot of variety of music up on the channel that I'm trying to explore for myself and share with you, both as it instructs and maybe it opens some harmonic doors for both of us, but also just to share the pleasure of the music that I really love. So that I think is the key to everything, is love. If you really, so I love the music of Bach so much. I listen to it every day. I find things in it every day. Go with what you really love. Go with what makes you feel inspired, but motivated is the word. Go with what motivates you and you feel like, I'm 16 years old, but I really want to play like this kind of sound. You have an ideal, maybe you have a favorite player or something. You think, I want to play like Alan Holdsworth. Well, that'll point you in a direction and take you somewhere. And you might end up actually becoming the player that you want to be. You won't be Alan, but maybe you'll find yourself in a really good place. I'll be 60 years old this year. I've played for 45 years. And I think I have more fun with it now than I ever have. Certainly I'm honing in on trying to have my own voice and my own vocabulary and the way that I approach things. And having this channel is a nice way for me to connect with players who might have similar interests. And I hope that this channel can be a help to you, an inspiration. If you have questions, please do reach out. I'm always open to answer. And I hope this addresses some of the sound things for people that have been asking me about how to get this sound. So I'll leave it there for now. And as always, I do wish you a very good day.